Edward Heath. Well, he was a prime minister, the Conservative prime minister between 1970 and 74. He died in 2005, but he's been accused of, he's under investigation for a historical child sex scandal involving, I think, four forces. A brothel keeper was, said that, well, she denied this now, but she was due to be exposed, but said, "Well, I'm not going to be exposed because I know I've got stuff on Edward Heath."
Yeah, really.
And
who can and how can he defend himself? As when you've passed away, there's nothing you.
Well, absolutely, yeah, but I mean, it does show to me anyway that that historical sex abuse is a major issue, and we've seen all this in relation to Jimmy Savile. You'd be forgiven for thinking a lot of the kind of politicians and celebs, TV celebs of the 70s and 80s were all paedophiles. I mean, this is all coming out now in relation to what happened in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and to me, a lot of it is actually, I've no defense for it at all, but a lot of it is about power, and it's these people did appalling things because they could do them. Jimmy Savile certainly did these things. We don't know yet about Edward Heath. We do know he's being investigated for paedophilia, and it comes down to the misuse of power, and these people did these appalling things. If they did these appalling things because they could do them, and they were in situations of power. And Edward Heath has also been accused of raping a man who's now in his 60s, I think, in the 1960s, when he was sort of up and coming politician and all the rest of it. But I mean, it's a terrible thing that they felt or that they could do these appalling things.
Well, it was a time, and I haven't quite fully figured it out myself. I mean, I was a child of the 60s as well, and of course the church had its bit of scandal in the United States, both the Catholic and the Episcopalian, the pseudo Church of England, and I've written and talked about in the past my own experience of it, and you'd still wonder though, what was it about that time where so much of this occurred? Because it's just it beggars.
I mean,
belief
to me, I think if you're to draw anything positive out of this, it is that it shows that there's a kind of we aren't there was a breakdown in deference and rightly so. That it doesn't matter how big you are, how important you are, and if you do appalling things, you will be found out and exposed for those appalling things. Yeah. The power and the lack of deference. Power is bad. Lack of deference is a good thing. If you had to draw any positive aspects out of these appalling situations, they are those things. I mean, I don't think any more went on in the 60s, 70s, and 80s than other times. It's just that we know about these things now.
But why do we know so much more now because there are situations that are going on probably right now that we don't know about. Is it because as time goes by, people remember, or is it, or was it a factor of the fact that the 60s and 70s were a time of it was the free love movement, it was the hippie movement, it was all sorts of things that were going on.
Yeah, but you had all that. Well, you had a lot of it in the 30s. I mean, and crime in the 40s was very bad, covered up by the blackout. And 30s, you had people, shagging around basically because they could, posher people, free love in the 60s. So I don't think it is that. I just think that, we are exposing these things now, and historical child abuse is seen rightly as a very, very awful thing, and it should be investigated. Because the impact, as Dennis, the impact is huge.